This is Edo Executive Platform, a program that is designed to bring to bear the policies and programs of Edo State government under the leadership of Mr. Godwin Obaseki. It will also provide accurate information about the developmental strides of the government in all the sectors of the state. As the program unfolds, it will afford Edo people and of course residents in the state the opportunity to air their views and also contribute to the development conversation.
I will commit myself to them, and I'll use every ounce of strength that God has given me to work for my people of Edo State.
My name is Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa. On Wednesday, 29th November 2017, Governor Godwin Obaseki presented a 146 billion naira budget to the Edo State House of Assembly. And to give us a breakdown of this budget is no other person than the Special Advisor on Economic and Development, Mr. Joseph Eboigbe. Sir, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And my name is Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa, your presenter for this program, Edo Executive Platform. Now, what is the underlying philosophy of this budget?
The budget is a budget of growth. You would recall when Governor Godwin Obaseki came into office, his very first budget, the 2017 budget, was tagged Budget of Consolidation and Prosperity. Now, the 2017 budget provided us a broad-based platform to consolidate all the gains we achieved under the Comrade Oshiomhole administration, and it effectively enabled us build upon it. So what we now have is a broad-based, solid foundation upon which the 2018 budget now seeks to focus on key growth sectors of the economy in order to ramp up economic growth and employment.
What differentiates this 2018 budget from the 2017 budget?
Thank you. So the 2017 budget, like I earlier mentioned, was designed specifically to create a link between the Oshiomhole era and Obaseki. So Comrade Oshiomhole, if you recall, had taken some very bold moves to revamp the infrastructure space in Edo State. We're looking at both social and economic infrastructure, including education and health. Now, the 2017 budget essentially looked at consolidating the gains we achieved from all of that, and primarily to strengthen the institutions of governance so that we would now have people and institutions that can constantly plan and execute in order to maintain the state of infrastructure in the state. Now, having achieved that, the 2018 budget now looks to build upon that. We are now saying, having established a baseline and a foundation for effective service delivery and very sound infrastructure, Governor Obaseki wants to build upon that, focusing on the key growth sectors of the economy in order to deliver his promises of jobs, sustainable jobs for the Edo people.
A major challenge of budget is performance. Now, what measures have been put in place by the Edo State government to ensure that this 2018 budget performs to expectations?
Okay. Governor Godwin Obaseki, right from the onset, established, this is at EXCO level, at the cabinet level, the strategic work plans for each ministry, department, and agency. Now, having developed the strategic work plans, key performance indicators and results framework were extracted. These form the basis for putting together the 2018 budget. Now, what you now have is a budget document that is underpinned by specific action and results. Now, with this, Executive Council would itself perform monitoring and evaluation on a monthly basis. So you would see that we cannot escape performance because we have close monitoring by EXCO. And above all, the 2018 budget itself is very realistic. So the estimates are not verbose and unwieldy. They are very focused, very realistic, and support effective execution.
Now, since they are focused and very realistic, what provisions do we have on ground for the current and, of course, capital expenditures? And what specific projects are we expecting? What specific capital projects are we expecting?
Thank you. The 2018 envisages 66.7 billion naira recurrent expenditure, which is 46% of the budget size. Then capital expenditure is proposed at 79.8 billion. This is 54% of the budget.
So capital is higher than recurrent?
Yes. This is deliberate because, like I mentioned earlier, the governor envisages this budget to drive growth. And so the focus is to spend more on capital projects than recurrent. Now, within the capital expenditure domain, the governor is looking to drive certain critical programs, one of which is urban development. We are also looking to focus on rural development, job creation, culture and tourism, and social reorientation and development. Now, within each of these, we envisage certain critical projects. In our urban renewal program, we are looking to focus on, first and foremost, to develop master plans for Benin City, the Ekpoma Urumi axis, and Auchi. Now, these master plans tend to look at these metropolitan cities and help us plan 10 years in advance. What type of infrastructure are we going to put in place to enable people live comfortably and work in these metropolitan cities? We are going to plan ahead what number of people do we expect to migrate to these cities? What will be the birth rates of newborns? What types of jobs will be created? What additional industries will come up? What new roads, new houses, water, electricity needs would the population require? The master plan will provide for all of these and enable us systematically provide these infrastructure to support the population. So you see the criticality of the master plan. Then we are going to invest heavily in transportation infrastructure for both urban and rural communities. So the transport infrastructure would facilitate economic activities. In the rural areas, the transportation infrastructure will be targeted at both economic and social objectives. On the economic side, we are going to deliver roads that will lead to farms and industries located in the rural areas. Then we are also going to deliver roads that will take our people to hospitals, schools, markets, and places of worship. We are also looking to invest heavily in water. In Edo Central and Edo North, where we actually have acute water problems, we have already started, with the support of the European Union, reticulation will start pretty soon around the Urumi axis. The state government is also looking to revamp 2 existing water schemes in Edo Central. This is with a view to ensure that the citizens who reside in Edo Central and Edo North will begin to have pipe-borne water. So there are plans to invest heavily in water schemes. Now, we are also looking to invest in primary and secondary health infrastructure. So the primary health care centers scattered across the state and the secondary level health infrastructure, which is the general hospitals, we have at least 1 per local government headquarters. Governor Obaseki is looking to rehabilitate most of these facilities. And we're also going to invest in a health insurance scheme as well to complement the health service delivery at the primary level and the secondary.
I don't want to ask you any question about the health insurance scheme now, but it looks like the Edo State government is having a robust relationship with the European Union.
Yes.
Good. Now, the Edo State government has commenced the construction of, should I say, an industrial park or a mega park. You know, the capital investment for this particular project is so huge. Now, how are we going to fund that?
Okay, thanks. The Benin Industrial Park is conceived as a public-private partnership initiative. The bulk of the funds that will go into the development of that park would come from the private sector. Right. Edo State government will provide the land and the key access roads. In addition, we will provide necessary guarantees that would enable both local and foreign investors and financiers to whet their appetite, basically. So it's going to be largely funded by the private sector.
All right. Still to come, we are going to be talking about the just concluded Alagodaro Summit. The program is Edo Executive Platform. Stay with us.
My mantra, my philosophy was just to build on what existed and to ensure continuity.
Yeah, the vision is turning Edo State to a land of make and honey, consolidating on the gain of the last administration of Comrade Adams Oshiomhole and taking it out of that lane called civil service state to an industrial state.
What we've done is to focus on improving our school system, particularly basic education for the long term, but for the short term to now begin to ensure that we create institutions to train technical people, technical manpower. So the first thing we did was to go to Benin Technical College, which was go to the pioneer technical college in this country, to clean it out and begin to rebuild it and put in the resources to train the kind of people companies will need when they come into the place.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, Mr. Eboigbe, the just concluded Alagodaro Investment Summit was said to have been a success, a very huge success. I was there, I saw it. Now, how will this translate to, should I say, rice or stew for the Edo State people?
Okay, thank you. Like you rightly mentioned, it was a huge success. It was well attended by both local and foreign investors. And most of them, right at the summit, started expressing interest to invest in the state. And so what we have done is immediately we have taken note of the investors who want to hit the ground running and have given them fast-track attention. So right now we are processing their various expressions of interest. And as early as next year, we will begin to see actions. And as you know, as most of these investors begin to concretize and realize their investment plans, immediately one of the first things that would happen would be jobs. So most of them would build facilities for their industries and so on. And so right from the very beginning, we'll begin to get some people employed to facilitate these processes. Most of the investment plans will begin to crystallize, and that will translate to jobs coming in for our people. Now, on a medium to long-term basis, yes, what we have done is there's a summit report that was put together by experts. This summit report, as we speak right now, the recommendations are being brought into the state government's development plans and our medium-term sector strategy. So right now we have a World Bank consultant working with us to put together the state's medium-term sector strategy and medium-term expenditure framework. So the key summit recommendations are coming into this document. Now the MTSS, the medium-term sector strategy, and MTEF influence our annual budgets. So you can then see the link. The summit recommendations go into our MTSS, and our budget plans are influenced by the MTSS. So yes, indeed, the summit recommendations will begin to impact positively on our people going forward.
Now let's talk about the IGR for Edo State. Majority are happy with the, success so far because we have the information that there's been a huge increment from what was on ground before. Now, how is this IGR going to benefit the Edo State government when it comes to translating it to, other projects?
Thank you very much. Currently, as we speak, Edo State's internally generated revenue constitutes about 25% of our total recurrent revenues. Really? Yes, and we're looking to grow this even more. Now, the IGR, Governor Godwin Obaseki, has committed this exclusively to capital projects. And so you can see that in spite of the vagaries that we experience with crude oil price and the swings we then suffer from statutory allocation, in spite of all of that, we are able to pay salaries and continue with our development projects, thanks largely to the state of our IGR.
Oh, yeah? Now, if you were to present an outlook for the Edo economy 2018, what sector would you say would deliver the most result in terms of economic growth?
Okay, thanks. For our economy, we are anchoring economic growth on agriculture, largely. You know, Edo State government, one of our key endowment factors is agric. We have at least 75% of our 20,000 square kilometers land. 75% of it is arable. So God has blessed us with very good fertile land. Now we want to leverage this gift from God. We're going to push very hard on agric, and therefore the economic growth will come from the agricultural value chain. So from production, cultivation, processing, and harvesting and processing, all of that would drive most of our economic growth. We also are going to embark on significant construction. So like I mentioned earlier on, we have plans to do massive road construction. And as part of our urban and rural development, we are also going to embark on housing development. So the construction sector will also see quite a bit of activity, and that would naturally translate to jobs for our people. Governor Obaseki is also passionately interested in the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector, the MSME sector. We have so far been providing incentives for them by way of very cheap credits. We are going to significantly enhance the bouquet of incentives to the MSME sector. And with this, we are going to see the growth of the businesses within that sector. And the growth would naturally also lead to employment. So the key sectors that would drive our economic growth, the agriculture sector, the construction, micro, small, and medium enterprises, and the services sector generally.
Now, are you saying that if, for instance, we have a young graduate of agriculture and he wants to go into farming, the Edo State government will be able to give him something like soft loan?
Clearly, in addition to that, we had piloted the agripreneur scheme in 2017. By first quarter, we want to roll out fully. The agripreneur targets the youths primarily. And if you recall, in 2017, Governor Obaseki launched the Edo Jobs Initiative, where we went around the state to register the unemployed people in the state. So we have roughly 200,000 in our database. About 30,000 have been provided access to one form of employment or the other. Of the number that's registered in the database, about 55,000 expressed interest in agric. Right, so those will be given access to the Edo Jobs Initiative, where the government will provide land and allocate at least 5 hectares to each of these youths. We will de-risk the process such that within 1 or 2 planting seasons, these youths would have developed the capacity to cultivate, manage the farm, harvest. And from there, they will transit into running their own farms on a more sustainable basis.
We have enough land in Edo State?
Oh, yes, we do. And we're having active partnerships from the communities across the state and the traditional rulers. Yes.
All right. Now, you are the special advisor to the governor on economic and development planning. Could you just give us a brief assessment of on how we have fared so far regarding budget?
Okay, the 2017 budget, we've performed so far so good. If you recall, at the beginning of the year, we indeed faced a funding risk for the budget. The World Bank, again, are a key development partner to the state, and they fund our budget to some extent. But they took a view based on the country macroeconomic environment, and therefore the funding we expected from them didn't materialize. However, and you will see in spite of that, we're still able to meet our key obligations to staff, pensioners, and the promise made to the people by Governor Obaseki in terms of physical development, we still executed. And that largely was as a result of his own very key expertise in finance. And so we're able to structure very innovative financing initiatives that enabled us to continue with the capital expenditure projects that we had planned for the year.
Economically?
Economically, very good. As you know, the country fell into recession, and we exited recession sometime in the early parts of the second quarter. And so right now, things are stabilizing. Crude oil production, the outputs have stabilized. The price too have somewhat stabilized. And so we are beginning to derive the gains from that. In terms of the statutory allocation, that's now becoming a bit more stable. That has also assisted us predictably fund some of our key initiatives. We are now witnessing stability within the macroeconomic environment, and that is now providing us the platform to move on.
When the budget starts to be implemented, we'll definitely bring you on this program again so that you can inform the Edo people. This is what is being done with the budget and this is how it is benefiting them. We'd like to say a big thank you to you for coming on the program. Yes, we have been chatting with the Special Advisor on Economic and Development Planning, Mr. Joseph Eboigbe. And you can agree with me that the budget of consolidation is now gradually moving to the budget of growth. Please stay with us again when we shall bring you another edition of this program. My name remains Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa. Thank you so very much for watching.